2024 meeting of the Fitchburg Board of Health. I now call this meeting to order. Please be advised that FATV is conducting an audio and video recording of this meeting for public broadcast. I ask that anyone else in the audience who is recording this meeting please identify himself or herself for the record now by standing and stating your name and city of residence. No one is recording, I assume. At this time, also, I ask that all electronic devices be placed in silent mode. I did it myself, so hopefully we won't have interruptions. I think, first of all, before we start the agenda, to determine if there is anyone who is wishing to speak remotely. And from what I can gather and understand, there is no such person as of yet. Is that correct, Steve?
That is correct, thus far, but I'm still researching it. Just signing on, so.
All right. Well, if someone comes in, then perhaps we can interrupt the agenda, but we'll approach the agenda as it is. The first item on the agenda is pertains to the Royal Fuel Smoke Shop. There was what was considered sale of flavored tobacco product or tobacco flavor enhancer to a minor, and failure to maintain a record of documentation about their sales. There was, I think there have been a couple of scheduled hearings with respect to this, but both have been asked to be postponed, I think, by individuals or the attorneys at the Royal Fuel Smoke Shop. Am I correct on that? I don't know as if any specific reason for that has been given. At least have you heard of one?
The first couple of postponements were due to the owner being out of the country. And today, the attorney for the owner asked for a continuance until August. He said this would be the last one. And then he also informed me via email that they will be selling the store.
Oh, okay. Well, I just wonder, since there have been two postponements already, if perhaps we shouldn't kind of be more insistent that we finally carry out this hearing.
I think it would be a good idea that the board set a deadline.
Yeah. Was a specific date in August given to you, or was it just mentioned? Well,
No, I reported to them that I would get back to them once the board decided.
Yeah.
I told them it was usually the first Thursday in August,
right.
Usually the first Thursday of the month, but we've been all over the place this year, so I wanted to make sure that we had a hard date if it was truly August.
All right. Yeah, I think we could schedule it for our next meeting, which will be in August, and at the end of this meeting we can make a decision as to what is going to work out best for all of us there. So we'll table that hearing until August. The second item on the agenda has to do with Michael and Marianne O'Farrell of Deerfield Road. They are looking to have enforcement of provisions of Chapter 138 of the Fitchburg City Code at 275 Mount Elam Road. Again, I think they have also asked for postponement this time, I think, until September, if I understand.
So Mr. O'Farrell wrote me an email that states he was updating his appointment calendar for July and realized he had a conflict with this hearing and that he would be unable to make it. And he asked that reschedule it till September.
All right. Well, perhaps we can reschedule that until our September meeting then. I think as far as what what they're requesting, I think that can also wait until September and discuss it then. No point in bringing it up now, I think.
Nothing pressing there.
So we're going through this agenda pretty quickly.
Yes, we are. Early night.
Yeah. The third item has to do with the Grief Paper Company. And I know I think at our last meeting, had hearings with respect to that. The very briefly summarized, I think residents in the area of the Grief factory have been bothered by various odors that come up at various times, depending on weather conditions in general, but there seems to be some odor there all the time. I think we were, at the last meeting, wrestling with the questions as to how much of the odor might have been due to grief and to others to the wastewater treatment plant or to other situations that exist in the environment. I think that grief had indicated their desire to cooperate and to alleviate the situation as best they could, and I know there were going to be some various things that they were going to carry out to empty their different vats and so on to help with the odor. So I think this meeting today is one to have an update both from the side of the residents, I think, and also from the individuals at Grief and also from the water treatment plant. So, Steve, any suggestions as to what might be the best order to?
I just passed out, that is the office complaints, that folks can go on See Click Fix and place a complaint. Those are the complaints that we have received since the last meeting. So there's about 35 complaints since April. Yeah, April 25th was the last meeting. Just so you get a rough idea of what's happening from the residents.
Yeah, I think these, and again, without reading every one, these seem to come from residents in the Mount Laurel Lane area, Oak Leaf Road, Franklin Road, and they seem to indicate that there is very strong odor, sometimes of sewage, what's called a disgusting odor at times, various strong odors, sometimes cardboard odor. So it obviously it has been enough to continue to be a bother since we met in April. Perhaps we should let the residents who are here speak first with regard to the current situation and what, if anything, has happened since our last meeting in April, to update us as to what the situation is, and then we'll give opportunity to Grief and to the wastewater treatment individuals to give their side of the story.
Can I ask, are there any dates on these? I mean, I don't see dates on my paper.
It's
Yeah.
not on these. You know.
I apologize.
That's okay.
Had to cut the dates off for it to fit on the paper.
Okay.
But I can certainly revise that in the future. I
Okay.
will say that
So this started, would you say this started maybe,
this
With all
I
this
ran this
heat?
report, this was from April 25th
thank you,
to present.
thank you.
So about 3 months or 2 months, 2.5 months,
2.5
essentially.
months, yeah.
35 complaints, so almost averages out to 1 a day or close to it. All right, would you like to?
I can pull up the dates if you think that that's significant.
I was just wondering if it had been worse now, like a whole bunch now because of all the
The heat?
heat. Yeah, but, going back to April.
Ironically, we haven't received a complaint this week
Well, I complained the 3rd, the
that I know
4th.
of.
I sent in a complaint on the 3rd and the 4th that we had.
3rd and the 4th, but I meant
July
this
3rd
week.
and 4th.
I haven't seen one since
Yeah.
late-
Well, I
the end
can
of last
attest that it was present last night with that beautiful wind, but we couldn't take a deep breath because of the smell, and it keeps you awake at night. It's still very present.
Could you make sure you speak into the microphone?
sorry.
You're really hard to hear.
So I said that I can attest that last night it was
Yes, I
very
can hear you.
prevalent
Okay. Thank
with
you.
that nice wind, and it was very difficult to sleep. So it's still with us. If I don't click fix every day, I mean, I choose not to click fix every day. Maybe I should. But it's just repeating and repeating and repeating the same thing. So I did receive a response from you that it said that you're sharing our click fix responses to grief officials and a third-party investigator. So I'd like to know who and what is this third-party investigator doing. I'd also like to know is what is in the water. What is evaporating and what are we breathing? I think that's very important because it's not just a bother. It's a lot more. It's our health. Okay. Am I too close
Still
now?
not doing well with our, with our headphones here. I apologize. It was for a minute, and now maybe it's best just to take them off and have you shout.
Should I start again? I don't know if I could.
Unfortunately, the acoustics in this room are not so good, and so usually these are helpful, but they're not working very well. At least mine isn't. Is yours working?
Mine wasn't working very well either.
Yeah. I don't know, it might be the microphones or just what.
Okay, so how about this? If I talk like this, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, so I can attest that July 3rd and 4th, there were the smells, and I did submit a click fix for those dates. Last night was terrible. Despite that nice wind that we had, we couldn't sleep, kept us awake. So the click fix, I choose not to do it every day because I'm clicking on the same spot. There's 3 or 4 of the same responses. Maybe I should, my fault. But, I mean, I can attest that it is daily that we smell that smell. And one of the click fix responses I got from you, Mr. Curry, was that you shared my comments to grief officials and also a third-party investigator. So I would like to know who the third-party investigator is, what they're looking at, you know, and what is their progress. Secondly, I'd like to know is what is in the water. What is evaporating and what we are breathing. Because it's more than a bother. It is our health. So that's where I think that's everything I said, right?
Could I ask you a question or
Sure.
two? Could you characterize the odor, what it smells like to you? Or?
My smell is going to be different than your smell. So I smell like a spoiled piece of cheese, bologna, salami. It smells very organic, very food-like. It stinks. My husband says it smells burnt. So it's not the same for everybody. I can't characterize it. How do you characterize a smell when you don't know what it is?
And are your windows open during this time, or can you smell it even with your windows closed?
I can smell it with the windows closed, but it is a lot worse when the windows are open.
And throughout the day, is there some odor constantly, or are there times, does it ever go away
It does come and go with
completely?
the wind. It does come and go with the wind. But since the heat, it is very heavy, it's very stagnant, and it's prevalent often.
So since our meeting in April, it's the same or worse or better, or?
I'm going to say because of the heat, it's worse. I'm going to say, and because we're outside. And we want to be outside.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
Sorry. As far as her questions, I think Mr. Michaud from Greif is prepared to answer those questions.
No,
So
I'm
the
going to give him an
third-party
opportunity.
investigator is from, okay, thank you.
I just wanted to give her a chance
Okay.
to speak. Any questions that either of you have?
I don't know, did we get your name?
Laura Nickerson,
Thank you.
and I'm on Ward Street.
Ward?
Ward, yeah, which is Waits Corner, which is different from the Goodwins that are up on the hill.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi, Kim Goodwin. I think everybody has seen me before. I just want to add to that, because basically, looking at the addresses here, and I think I think Dr. Bakhtarzarian said, it's mostly Mountain Laurel Lane, Oak Ridge, all of that areas. Basically, the bottom line is, it's the entirety of West Fitchburg. I was up at a softball game, and I just looked it up. It's showing on my ClickBix of 7-2, but I know I put it in 2-3 weeks ago before that. So I was at a softball game at Monty Tech. And the softball field is the first field you hit when you get to Monty Tech. And it was absolutely, utterly disgusting. And everybody that I walked by in the softball field, what the heck is that? Is that the chicken farm? And I said, no, that's Griff Manufacturing. So I don't think you guys are getting the picture that it pretty much permeates the entire West Fitchburg area. Exactly what that boundary is, I don't know. But if you talk to people that live on Westminster Hill Road, Ward Street, up by Monty Tech, Mr. Kuchar says every morning or pretty much every day when he drives by there on Princeton Road, he gets it. It is so bad some days, it gags you. It's not just offensive, it's disgusting. And if you, either or any of you folks had to live with it daily, you would be screaming too. We're tired of it. We're tired of waiting for it. It seemed like there was a slight improvement way back when we had the first discussion about wastewater. And now that seems to, whatever happened immediately after our meeting where wastewater got involved, that seems to have gone by the wayside because the smell is pretty much there every day. Steve, way back when we first discussed this with you, I asked you if you could get a listing of how many total complaints there have been about the odor. Have you had any progress on getting total numbers of what the odor complaints have been?
I apologize. I can do that very easily, but I did not do that.
Okay, could you do that? I'd like to see that, because if this is 34 since the April meeting, it's significant because we were all being very loud about it prior to that.
Right.
So I think it would be interesting to the remainder of the board to know how long this is being complained about and how often it's being complained about. But I will agree with her day after day after day. Excuse me. Some days you get fed up with click fixing it. It's like, yeah, what's this going to do? We're fed up with click fixing it. It should be fixed.
There was some discussion, I think, in April about sensors possibly being placed.
Yeah, we have not seen one.
You have got them or have
We have not seen one.
not seen
I
any?
believe, and I'll have to go check my notes, that Griff was going to offered to supply one to Oak Ridge. And I'll go back and double check my notes, but I believe there was an offer there that one would be supplied to Oak Ridge.
But nothing is
Nothing has come about yet.
So if I may comment on that, I did research the DEP grants and spoke to the individual there. We were eligible for the grant, and they certainly would supply us with the equipment. However, they told me that it's not going to accomplish anything. It's a particulate. It measures particulates, and it won't accomplish anything regarding odors.
Well, so far, nothing's been accomplished anyway, so we just say, no, never mind, don't bother with it?
Well, I don't want to give you a false sense of information either. I mean, Mr. Michaud has offered to buy the Board of Health office a H2S sensor. Again, he has H2S sensors at the end of his property, and those aren't reading anything. I don't feel like him spending $10,000 on a H2S sensor is really going to accomplish a whole lot.
Well, I guess my suggestion at this point, this needs to get elevated to a higher source. If the experts in-house don't know anything or how to resolve it, and if Mr. Michaud doesn't have a clue on how to resolve it, how to measure it, how to detect it, then I think the problem's got to get elevated to somebody that has that know-how and authority. Because this is unfair, unreasonable for us to continue to live this way. We talk about health issues. We're tired of smelling it. Like, you know, now that it's so hot, you want to open it. Last night, the breezes were great until you got tired of smelling it, so you close the windows again. We shouldn't have to continue to put up with this. And as we said back in April, my wife and I and other people have been complaining about this since at least June of 2022, and we actually have earlier complaints than that. So, and up until April, the remainder of the board had not heard a word of this. I think it's disgusting and absolutely unexcusable that the city's been hearing these complaints since 4 years ago anyway, and nothing has really been done to alleviate it because it's still there and it's not really going away.
Does anyone have an estimate as to the population in that area that is affected by this? How many individuals?
We have 100 units in Oak Ridge alone. Some people smell it worse than others, depending on where they are on the hill, but Steve could probably get you a very good number of how many people live in West Fitchburg.
Yeah.
Because realistically, any day or time in West Fitchburg, you can encounter it. And I think I said to you one night we were driving home from a council meeting, and we ran right into it head first at Rheingold School. That was at 8 o'clock at night, give or take.
Well, I'd like to hear from the others who are involved in this. Maybe I'm being too simple about this. It seems to me we've got to figure out what this odor is, where it's coming from, and do something to eliminate that source, whatever it may take.
I will respectfully say to you, yes, we're treating it too simply, and I say we. The entire conversation is being treated too simply and too lightly. It needs to be resolved because it's putting our property values, it's impacting our quality of life, and it's aggravating as hell when you walk, excuse me, you can cut that if you want. As you're coming out the door to go for a nice walk on a nice day, the first thing you do is, oh, there it is again, and it's unavoidable. And I don't think it's fair to us, and I don't think we should have to tolerate it.
Well, I'll congratulate you. I think you're being much more gentlemanly than I would be. So
that's the point I'm trying to get across without becoming
thank you very
disagreeable.
much. All right. Do you have anything to add
No,
from that
I'm
standpoint?
looking forward to the updates from Greff.
Sure.
Thank you.
So I don't know which of you two or who would like to speak first, or
I'm with the collection side, the sewer system.
Mike, can you step up to the
yeah,
microphone?
just not that it's
You can
working
sit
all
down,
the time.
too.
All right. I'm not really familiar with the treatment side and the odor issue. What I can say is my crew has gone up into West Fitchburg. We've cambered and cleaned the sewer system just as a precautionary measure. We do have some combination manholes in West Fitchburg that do have the potential to cause odor. But that being said, those have been there since about 1913. So I mean, they've been in that configuration for a long time, and we haven't really, it seems like this is something more recent. But as a precaution, we did clean the sewer system in that area. So I just want to make that known. Any questions about the treatment side? I'd have to defer to Mark, but Mark McNamara, my boss, he's actually implemented cleaning at the West Plant. So periodically we get on and we clean the tanks down there, and I usually get down there and I do check for odor periodically at the plant site, and there is some residual odor down there, but nothing that's you'd describe as like totally disgusting or strong or powerful from the West Plant area. So anyway, if anyone has any questions for me. My name's Ken DuPont. Oh, you're Ken. Okay. Yeah.
I'll stand up here so we can.
Oh, yeah, sure.
No, I want to make sure they hear it too. All right, if you're saying you're not smelling the smell at the plant, have you gone anywhere else in West Fitchburg?
I've driven on Franklin Road too
Okay.
a few times. I think it was probably, I think I probably answered one of your C-Click Fix
Could be, yeah.
at the beginning, maybe in 2021.
Yep.
And that's when I did take a ride up there, and that's when we started to clean the system.
Yep. Okay.
Well, it's been ongoing since, we've been cleaning the system since 2012, but I transferred the work to that area just because of the complaints, because we have the whole city to camera anyway.
How about the impound tanks? Are those getting cleaned?
Are those getting flushed?
Yeah, they are flushing them, yeah. And
Recently, or have they been?
they're being flushed, and I don't know the time, but they do a cycle of cleaning. They do it, I don't know, I want to say once a month, maybe it's more. but I would have to defer that. Reach out to me anytime, too.
Yeah, I think that would.
Tanks aren't getting cleaned from wastewater.
Yeah, 'cause I think you and Steve, I'm sorry to cut in, I'm sorry, the day that you and Joe and Steve came up to Oak Ridge, you guys said that you had stopped at the plant, I think on the way to the Board of Health meeting that day, and you said there was sludge in there. So my opinion is there was a point where things seemed better, so I don't know if they were flushing or.
When about was?
Could I interrupt you guys?
Sorry?
No, I just want to ask Mr. Michaud, right?
No, that's Mr. Michaud.
No, Mr. DuPont.
Okay. You work at the treatment plant then,
I work for the collection side, I'm not at the,
but I mean, you're out there in the vicinity
oh, yeah, I'm out, yeah.
all the time. So, since you work there, do you detect this odor yourself, or do you?
Not at this level. I mean, I really haven't experienced it, honestly. But I have checked that area, and there is an odor, It's more I grew up in Fitchburg, so I remember when the paper mills were active. It's similar to that. It's not really a sewer, to me, a sewer.
The smell is similar
It's
to.
subjective, but to me, it's not.
So, for someone who hasn't worked in paper mills and is not familiar with that odor might not be what he or she is used to and might be offensive to that person.
Yeah, it's very subjective.
So, I'm understanding you're saying there is an odor there,
Yeah.
and it might be what's offensive to the people who are living out there. Is there some way to remedy that odor or to change it, or would that involve closing the treatment plant, or is there some other way to deal with that odor?
Yeah.
I think this is where our holdup is. I mean, they're saying there's an odor, and everyone's saying, well, there's nothing much we can do about it. So we've got to get by this impasse in some way, I would think. I don't think all these folks want to sell their homes and move away from that area, so I think.
We're close to going steps further.
Well, what I'm saying is that's probably not a very practical solution. So the better solution is do something about the odor. If the odor is coming from the treatment plant, then either there's some way to remedy that, or the treatment plant, and I'm not saying that's what would happen, but would it mean that has to be closed in order to get rid of that odor, or is there some other way to do it? And I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure that it's. I don't believe personally, I don't believe that the odor is coming from the plant. So that's
Well, let me ask this: is there someone whom would we ask, who might know the answer to that? What there is to do about it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe Joe. Yeah.
I have one last question for you. I don't want to put you on the spot. This is just more clarification from last time.
Yeah.
So last time we were here, we were told that the effluent from Gref goes into a holding tank.
Yeah.
And it has to sit there. And one of the reasons that some of it has to stay is because you can't drain it all the way because of a sludge issue or something like that. I know this is a treatment question.
Yeah.
So my question just is, are those holding tanks, are they being drained more regularly now? Do you know?
They're from what I understand, they're being drained at the same rate, but they're being cleaned out, so there's no remaining residual solids there.
I see.
That being said, I haven't noticed a difference, but I don't know if you have. Apparently not either.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that it's still not.
Yeah. I mean, when I went down here when they first flushed them out, and it was a stronger smell. It did seem to get a little better, back to where it was after a while. Maybe because they stirred everything up, or
Right.
And I didn't witness what they actually did. I just heard that they went in there with pressure hoses and washed it out. But
Okay.
yeah, I wish I had an answer to solve this issue. If I had a way to do it, I would. To prevent this from happening, but. All he could do was clean
Could I ask
the
you a
main
question?
lines, really.
Steve has a question.
Yeah,
In your opinion, in your professional opinion, would redirecting the sewage from the plant to the east plant rather than the west plant help with this matter?
I mean, I think it would take the plant out of the equation, whereas you wouldn't have anything in the open air where there's possibility of, steam, rising up and getting that odor. Looking at the maps of that area, I don't know if you've looked, if you go on Google Maps, you can see that you guys are directly west of the plant and of Greif as well. So. Or directly east, I'm sorry. The west wind would carry that, there. So, and it could be, and my only thought, my personal thought, I'm not a professional in this stuff either, but it seems to happen like at night when things are cooler.
No, it's 24/7.
It is all the time. Okay,
It's all the time.
all right, okay. Yep. That was what I had thought.
There's no rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
You can smell, and then
Just
an
stops.
hour later, it's beautiful, and then it comes back.
Yeah.
So it does come back and forth. I think it's the wind.
I know I've asked this question before, but I'm just curious, in your opinion, what would it cost to redirect that sewage from Greif to the east plant?
We have our consultant looking into whether that's feasible. There could be an issue of capacity in the system, whether or not we could just directly put that in rather than, pump it. Right now, it's being pumped gradually into the system. To have it directly tied into the system, we have capacity issues in the main trunk line, and there's potential to cause overflows if we connect that in, and then we'll have, sewer backups as well. So, but there is a study to see if that's possible.
Feasible? Any idea the timeframes on that study?
I'll have to look at
Okay,
that.
no problem. I don't mean to put the headlights on you. I'm just,
No, it's fine.
I just want to point out that that is an option. It might be an expensive option, but I don't know if, eventually the West Plant is going to close 100%, is my understanding, and try to be permitted as some other treatment facility.
Yeah.
So at some point, it's going to have to stop accepting the waste. So I assume that study is to do just
Yeah,
that.
I'd have to look
Yeah,
into
no.
that. I can't really give you any answers on that right now, so.
I understand.
Are we talking weeks or months or years that?
That I don't know.
I heard that is kind of moving forward kind of quickly at this moment, but I don't really know the details on it. Apologize. But, it's for an anaerobic digestion
Right.
facility.
All right. Any additional questions or?
Can we get a point person?
Can you come
Yeah, I'm sorry.
up to the microphone?
Can we get a point person at the wastewater treatment plant? So either McNamara or yourself that can come back with status reports on what's happening there, instead of having one or two people coming in and not knowing what the other person's doing. Can we appoint someone? Anyone?
I would assume he would need to speak to his supervisor about that, but
Or can we speak to the mayor about that? And,
we could.
I mean, is that something that can be done?
Absolutely.
I think that would help so that we have a full picture of the status of what's happening. Us complaining is clearly not doing anything. So we need to have people in place
Maybe this
that
is a
can
good time
provide.
for Mr. Misha to give a
Okay,
Let's
very good.
let him speak, and then we'll
Thank you.
discuss it some more. Thanks.
Good afternoon. So you'd asked for an update in several months, and what we promised to do was to come with an update on the project that we are executing to reduce the potential to generate odors. So I know that we may have forgotten that. We are in the throes of that project right now that's supposed to finish up in the middle of October. I brought a project chart so you can see where we are on that. We promised to offer to purchase sensors, H2S sensors that we use in our process to the Board of Health Inspectors. We've done so, and we're still prepared to if they would like to have them. So we provided all the information, the cost to make the model, and we're going to purchase them.
Quick question, if you don't, okay. Would the, I don't mean to skip ahead in your presentation, but would the third-party investigator be eligible to have one of those devices?
Yeah, absolutely. We could certainly do that.
Thank you.
We also wanted to update you on, we were trying some different strategies to improve our operation so that we had less potential to generate odors. We have actively visited the places of complaints and expanded our visits on the way into the mill. And we also promised to evaluate a third-party independent person to come out when there's a complaint and do an objective assessment. Magnitude, wind direction. The mill's purchased a weather station. So we have wind direction, we have temperature, humidity, all of that. That can be compared to the location of the complaint, and that person who will come in fresh from the outside, not from the mill, with a fresh nose, so to speak, then can take that objective assessment. We had a few technical issues with trying to get the C-Click fix to be able to send an email to those inspectors, but we've got that resolved. Thank you, Mr. Curry. And we've done a few things to bring in some experts into our process to measure and see, conduct odor panels to see what might be an underlying odor generation, like what should we go after? Because as you mentioned, odor is very subjective, and people's attention to it is different, their response to it. We have changed the treatment of chemistry that we do to the mill, and we measure volatile fatty acids. So those are an indicator of odors, VFAs, they're commonly known as. Butyric acid, for example, would smell like vomit. So you can measure and see if those numbers are going higher or lower. And we've reduced our VFAs 80% in the mill. So we've done a huge reduction in the odor of VFAs that people might find offensive, that wouldn't be measured by an H2S sensor, hydrogen sulfide. However, we have taken and we've gone out to the complaint areas and tried to our own, to compare what we're smelling to what the complaint is smelling. And we, in fact, brought an H2S meter to the sewer in front of the old Crocker paper by Waite's Corner. And just above that, we detected 69 parts per billion of H2S. So, you can smell that. And our team thought it smelled like rotting meat. So there are odors that go on around us that are not always from the mill, but the mill has an odor. And so our main project is to reduce the potential to generate odors, and that project is underway. That's going to finish up in mid-October. And that's returning to the sequencing batch reactors that I presented last time I came. Mr. McNamara was here, and he addressed that they would like to take our effluent directly to the east plant and skip the west plant. The two items, one, it was going to take a long time. The study had to undertake. The biggest concern, though, was capacity, as Mr. DuPont said. So when the plant has any problems at all, they turn off that flow, and that tank rises until they can take the flow again. So I've gone down to inspect the tanks. They run at a constant level, a low level, and the color of them changes based on how far they are away from the pumps. We've offered to pay for some sort of flushing sequence. The department has been uninterested in actively engaging with us about that. We've offered to pay for money to put in a different size tank, different pumping strategy. They have provided us with a daily pumping numbers. So we did get that, and it shows that we're pumping several 100,000 gallons a day out of those tanks. So you do have water going in and then water going out of those tanks. We have brought in Epsilon Associates as that third party, their environmental firm. And we're going to also send them out in the evening without complaints to see if they can pick up the odor. Because quite frankly, when we go to those areas to smell the odor, it might be 30 minutes after the complaint, we don't always smell that. We often can't tell at all that there was an odor. It may be that we've come from the mill, and therefore our nose is attuned, and so we can't pick it up. Whenever I come to the mill, though, I always come up and I visit the Mount Laurel Lane, Oak Ridge, all those roads up there. And I, too, cannot get lucky enough to pick up the odor when I come. So but I don't come at night. So we're going to have that third-party person come at night randomly and see what they get. And then maybe that's something that we can pick up in the evening. We've brought in a company called TRC to perform an odor assessment panel, and they're going to do they're going to measure around us as well to see what they can pick up for odors. So we're going to have access to the West Plant, different areas around Fitchburg to see what we can triangulate for our odor strategy. The Dr. Vitrano is a very renowned odor expert, so we were lucky to have found her in her company, and hope that she can also help us with a strategy to either understand where it is coming from, because it is not always us. We have complaints of the landfill, we have complaints of the West Plant, and we have complaints of the sewer itself that are open to atmosphere. So questions that you might have for us on the project, or if I need to go over that again, it's over $500,000 that we're spending there to rehabilitate and improve those sequencing batch reactors. Any interest in that, or the schedule, how that works?
The schedule. So I think last time we talked about it, October was the date that you were trying to hit, and that October is still the date that you think you're going to.
Yes, it is. We've run into a few problems with the components of the programmable logic controllers. A lot of the electronics are a very long lead time, so we found some used items that we can refurbish and load the controlling program in there. So that's moving along well. And then the long lead time items are mixers and diffusers that do the small air bubbles in these tanks, which is an aerated treatment system.
So just once again, in terms of where the odor comes from what I understand, in Grief's manufacturing, what they do, there's byproducts that are created from that, and there's some odor to that, if I understand, that occurs right at the factory itself. Is that?
Yes. Well, we purchase old corrugated containers and we add water to them, fresh water, and then we slurry it up and clean the plastic out of it.
So at the plant itself, then there is this byproduct that comes about from that process, and it has an odor to it. But if I'm understanding, that's not really the odor that's being smelled outside. So the byproduct that you create goes to the treatment plant, is that it?
Yes. We recycle the water over and over again.
Yeah.
And then we clean constituents out of the water, which are the ash and clays and very fine particles that you can't make paper out of. Those are dewatered, and they're taken to an incineration facility. Mm-hmm. And then the excess water goes to the West Plant's tanks. Okay. And then it is further taken to the East Plant, where it's processed. And so there are parts per million of little solids in there, and then there's biological oxygen demand.
I guess what I'm trying to figure out is the odor that's bothersome to the residents there, it would seem then would come not necessarily from the plant itself, although that may be where the liquid starts, but comes after it sits at the wastewater treatment plant for a while. And
I think it can be both.
Both, you think?
Yes. I mean, people that come, like we've hired people, and they come here and they go, "You don't have an odor problem."
Yeah.
So, and we go, well, we do because our neighbors they find it objective. They've also suggested strategies, which we've implemented, which are different chemistries, ways to measure to try to make sure that we don't have that odor. But I know that when we change that water system, we've had more complaints since we changed the water system back in 21, at the end of 21. So we're changing it back, and that's the predominantly the largest improvement that's going to happen.
And that's around October that's going to be
Yes, sir.
accomplished?
Yep.
Actually, before you speak, any other questions that you have to ask before he sits down, or before?
Nothing right now. I had something, but now I forget. Oh, I have a question. So one of the concerns of the residents is what the components of what they're smelling is. I think they're worried about probably mutagens, teratogens, carcinogens, those kind of things. I don't know if it's proprietary, the slurry, or the chemical that you use, the chemistry that you use, but is there any way to alleviate, it's rightful to be afraid of something when you don't know what it is that you're smelling. Can you kind of alleviate that in any way to tell us what's in that they're smelling?
Well, what I can tell you is we're a highly regulated industry.
Right.
So we are measured on air, we are measured on water, we are measured on all of the chemicals that we use in our process, and we report all of that.
Right.
That being said, we know that anaerobic digestion can cause hydrogen sulfide.
Right.
And hydrogen sulfide in high concentrations can be very dangerous, right? It can kill you if it's over 10 parts per million, right? So what we measure over our process is an indicator of the health of the water treatment. Okay. Predominantly the odor of wet cardboard would be the smell of the wood fibers and the resins that make up paper. Yeah. That came with the tree, the lignin that's in there. And those things decomposing will cause an odor. Just like anything else, decomposing could cause an odor. That predominantly is what would be the odor. I don't know how else to measure what's in the air other than...
Right.
You have to measure for a gas.
Right.
Or a particulate, as Mr. Curry said.
Right.
We're measured on our particulates out of our boilers. We have all of those permits to do that. We run natural gas. We don't burn oil, for example. Sorry. I don't know if...
That answer, that pretty much answers what I was asking. Yeah, no, I know it's highly regulated. I'm sure the DEP requires certain checks and
Good question.
whatnot,
So my question is, there may be a question that your company is not responsible for all of this. So is there a time where you turn off the machines? Do you shut down for a week? Yes. Can we shut down for a week and just see if it appears? If it appears, then it may not be solely you. So it would be a process of elimination if you didn't stop production for a length of time.
So we shut down all of March of 2023, and we got lots of complaints during that time. We weren't producing.
So that tells me. Can we do this test again?
But the mill still has an odor. We have an odor, and it smells like a paper mill odor of paper, of wet cardboard. And we have more and more complaints of that since we modified our water system. So
it would be interesting if the neighbors could come up and take a tour. And then we could smell the various areas and say, that's the match.
to think about that.
Think about that.
Can I just go back historically for a minute? How long ago were these offensive odors first noted? How many years has this been going on?
The mill's had an odor control plan since the early 2000s, and predominantly would only have complaints if there was an upset with it.
Yeah, but the residents have noticed it since how long, the odor?
We have records or
what, 2022?
21, 22, you said?
Yeah, 21, 22 was when we
Okay.
first started noticing it to a point where it became annoying.
And again, so presumably prior to that, the odor wasn't there, or at least wasn't noticeable.
Not to a level where
Wasn't
you
noticeable.
remember it or noticeable.
And we may have discussed this, maybe I'm just forgetting, what changed about that time, either at the treatment plant or at Grief in 2021, when the complaints first started coming up? Did something change about the way things were done?
Yes, we changed our water system to improve the solids to the city.
Okay,
And when we did that change, the system that we deployed did not improve the solids, and it did not improve the biological oxygen demand. And after about a year, we wanted to go back because
yeah, I think you mentioned this before.
right, but the city was opposed to it, as was the wastewater treatment plant, and we now had enough data after these years to prove that it was not a benefit. So we're returning to the system.
And again, is that happening around October or so?
Yes, it's underway right now. It's a bunch of parts.
So presumably around October, we'll be going back to the situation that existed before
Yes.
2020-21 when these odors came up?
When they became more noticeable of a different,
Yeah.
the nature of the odor changed.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how the folks feel about, I know that's 3 months away, but it seems to me that, again, just as an observer, that it might be reasonable to wait and see if that change puts us back to 2020, 2021, when we didn't have these odors. I mean, it seems like a reasonable place to start before we start moving all kinds of pieces and doing various things. We can concentrate on getting that one thing done. If that works, that's it. If it doesn't, then we have to do something further. Am I making sense?
You are.
Does that?
You're asking us to put our health on the line, potentially put our health on the line for 3 more months. And that's hard to do.
Considering we've been smelling it since 2021.
I understand, and believe me, it's not something we want to do. It's just we're trying to solve this problem for you, so we're trying to do it in some reasonable way. I mean, obviously, the solution would be make Grief go away, make the wastewater treatment plant go away, plant farm crops out there and smell grain and everything, but that we can't do all that at once. So I think we have to start somewhere reasonable, and that would be to see if going back to the previous system when this didn't happen would come back, if it would be all right again. And from what I guess the discussion was, it doesn't appear that there's anything threatening to health among these odors. Granted, they're not pleasant, but there's nothing, it's going to cause malignancy or neoplasm that.
I would say nobody knows that because nobody knows what the smell is being caused by. So I don't think there's any way that we should sit back and say this isn't going to hurt anybody.
And I think for anything that's in the pipeline, the quickest solution is going to be October. I mean, is there anything else that can be accomplished in 3 months that is going to make a change? I think hopefully with this change occurring in 3 months, it'll make a difference. If it doesn't, then
We have two things going on. We have, they're making change back to their water system the way it was.
Right.
But they also have this third-party person going out now to see if they can identify these smells, and they are going to have, and it sounds like at least an H2S meter with them. So there is something else being done.
And even beyond that, I think there's some indication that whole wastewater treatment plant in West Fisher is going to close eventually anyway, and so that won't exist. But we don't know when that's going to be, but it is something hopefully coming along.
Well, we'll have also the ability to triangulate odors that are not us, and we're going to vigorously defend ourselves when it is not us, because it is not always us that is the odor. But when the complaints come in, it's generally assessed against Greif,
Yeah.
despite the wind direction, despite the nature of the odor.
I have a question. It seems like everything in my mind is moving at a fast pace, like it's always more. You know, let's if we can do this amount, let's do more. What would it be like for your company to cut back on the work that you do for a period of time until this is resolved, if this indeed is the only way it's going to be resolved, is waiting until October? What would it be like to scale back your efforts and your work at what you're doing for a period of 3 months in the in the speculation that maybe part of what's going on is related to the work that you're doing and the inability of the treatment site to handle that, and maybe that's going to change down the line, but that might not be soon enough either.
We would have a difficult time maintaining as an ongoing business.
Say that again?
We would have a difficult time maintaining an ongoing business. Our
If you were to
customers would
scale
not receive paper from us.
Well, we also have a whole community of people that are suffering.
You asked the question, what would
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah.
Which would lead to another community of suffering, which would be the employees of the plant.
Right. Well, I'm not saying any one person suffering is less important than the others. I'm just thinking that we're looking for a little bit of a balance or a little bit of a shift so that there is some relief. Some relief without waiting until October for that relief to begin. So,
We've
Any
pulled
thoughts
all of the
about
levers that we can pull at our location,
yeah.
and we've committed to the $500,000 worth of work that's underway. It can't be done any sooner.
Right.
And we do appreciate all of your efforts. Don't think that we don't. We absolutely do.
Appreciate that.
May I ask one more question? And I'm going to ask it of Joe. When your third-party consultant goes out and responds to the quick fixes, do they generate reports to you?
We're trying to figure out, we're going to send them to Mr. Curry too, just what should they be doing? They're going to have to come to our mill too and understand our process.
Well, I guess one of the things we would like to see is like, okay, we're actually getting a response, and this is what they found out or what they didn't find out. There was one or two that I put in regarding the landfill.
Yes.
And they came out and they said, one of the first ones they did point at Griff, and I have a copy of it at home if you want me to send it to you. But we're sitting here making complaints daily, and that's all we're hearing is the response from ClickFix that says, yes, your complaint has been heard. But we're not getting any feedback as far as your third-party consultant is finding something or not finding something. So we're sitting here, as far as we're concerned, nothing's happening.
Right.
So if we could get that feedback, maybe it would calm people down a little bit, because we're not getting any feedback at this point, as far as the residents go.
And our independent person who comes and does that assessment, the magnitude of it, will help us as it's getting better, right? Because they'll come and see that the magnitude is less than it was before.
I mean, I will honestly say there was, and I'd have to go back to my calendar because we were out of town, but from what I gathered, there was a 1 or 2 week period that seemed like it was better.
It was April 25th to May 22nd.
Okay, that sounds about right.
Absolutely.
Maybe.
We didn't get any complaints,
Okay.
and then it came back again.
Right, okay, so we're in agreement with that. Yeah, it did seem to get
Shortly
better.
after the wastewater treatment plant, folks went down there and washed the tanks all out. We didn't have a complaint for a while.
Okay, then that points as much to the wastewater as it does the source.
That's a problem for us.
Yeah.
That open tanks that aren't always moving and completely drained is a problem for us.
Okay,
Because
agreed.
It's a problem for you.
Yes, okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
One other question. If these changes are accomplished in the manufacturing process by October, do you think the effects would be immediately noticed? In other words, or is it something that it takes another several weeks to?
It's probably going to take about a month to two. The tank, we have to bring in 1.8 million gallons worth of water. We have to build a biomass in the second tank. But at the same time, when we do that, we'll be bringing down the BOD numbers, the biologic oxygen numbers. So it's going to get immediately better, and then it's going to get much better over the next, 5 to 6 weeks as all of the system comes down in the level of oxygen demand. So.
Well, I'll just say personally, I commiserate very much with the residents out there, and I understand completely that this is a very unpleasant situation to be in, and we very much want to do everything we can to solve it for you. But unfortunately, as I often had to tell my patients, I can't wave a magic wand and have it be better in 5 minutes. Sometimes these things take time, and it does seem, at least as I listen, that the solution that you have for October is probably the quickest way to approach it and has the greatest hope for now. And I think we just have to be patient and hope that it'll do what we want. If it doesn't, then I guess that's another bridge we'll have to cross at the time, but we'll be optimistic and hope it'll make a difference. Apparently, prior to the changeover in the process, this wasn't a problem, so if we can get back to what it was before, hopefully it'll put us back to where this isn't a trouble anymore.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for coming and giving information.
So can I ask, Ken, the work that was done in April that alleviated that period of about a month that there were no complaints, that was done by the wastewater treatment plan?
Yeah, we're continuing. You finished? Is that, sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
That's what I'm wondering. You're continuing
Yeah.
to do that. Is that like on a monthly basis?
And I think it's done on a monthly or bi-weekly basis. I'll say monthly just to be safe. Yeah. But I think we're doing that, continuing to do that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
But it hasn't seemed to make any difference over the past, say, May, June, July, over the past couple months for the residents, even though that process of cleaning or flushing or sandblasting or whatever it is you're doing, it hasn't seemed to make a difference. I appreciate what the residents are going through. I mean, I don't want to say I appreciate it, but I appreciate the way that you're coming forward with the issue, and that I think one of the things I'm hearing is that you're looking for more of a more of involvement in decisions and things that are being made. You at least want to be kept in the loop about what's going on when the people who have the specialists who are coming in, and I think that that's a great idea. It'd be a way of alleviating some of your stress or some of your concerns about what's happening in the meantime.
Can I just respond to that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. I mean, right now, since we've been open this conversation back in April publicly, we've been sitting on our hands, somewhat being quiet. We're saying, okay, we found some things out, we're going to do some things, that's going to be October, and we continue to put these complaints in on a daily basis, and we get a acknowledgement that the complaint is being made, but that's it.
Right.
So we're not getting any updates of, yes, the third-party person went out and investigated, couldn't identify it, or yes, they did go out and find it and identified where it was coming from. I mean, that would be nice for us to know.
To know that, and
Yes.
to know what date is the wastewater department going out there and flushing those, because there might be just like a brief period of time when there is an improvement for the neighbors, or to know that, okay, it's going to be on the 20th of every month that we're going to go out there and we're going to clean. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I
records
can
of,
imagine that any communication that can be opened, maybe exchange numbers with each other before you all head out. And
I mean, I think
be kept in the
records
loop
of
is important.
records of things that are being done, especially at
Yep.
wastewater, would be helpful for us. At
Yes.
least that way there, we could turn around and correlate, okay, they flushed last week or whatever they want to call it.
Yep.
And last week was good. Steve has my contact information. We can certainly correspond if we need to. But yes, anything that they're being done that makes an impact would be nice to know.
Yeah, So that's when I appreciate your involvement and you're staying on top of it. And it sounds like it's not over yet. It sounds like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. But I hear that you're asking for more open record, more transparency about what's going on. And I think that should be able to happen.
Yeah, I would hope that, and hopefully that we hear something encouraging, and October comes and everything is fine. That would be great.
I think,
Joan, can you come over?
My name is Joan Goodwin. One of my comments, too, is similar to what happened in February when I just happened to see that Griff was on the agenda for the Board of Health. What brought me to light, and I think you, is that you had no idea what was going on. I just want to say that I spoke to a board member for the wastewater division. He has no idea what's going on. So I do plan to attend that wastewater meeting. I think it's next week, and let them know what is going on with Griff. And I think that's a frustrating part. You know, the due diligence of our city and our departments and letting these board of director members know what's going on. And I think this is an important enough situation that they should have been known. Yeah. But again, I find out with wastewater, and this board of director says, I have no idea what you're talking about. That's the frustration. So hopefully that can be taken care of.
Steve, I don't want to volunteer things that we don't have, so I'll just ask the question. I think in the beginning, they had kind of elucidated that there could maybe like a case manager or something for this, someone that...
A point person.
Like a point person, I think is what they said in the beginning. Could there be a point person that gathers this type of information, that this information could be sent to? I'm not going to volunteer you. That's not you.
Well, it has been, obviously. I can...
Just to get them that kind of information, because that's a lot.
I have no problem being a
information
point person. I have no problem communicating. My concern is a lot of these complaints happen at night. Thus, the third-party investigator. I try to be as open as possible for what I know. I am not a paper expert. I'm not going to... I think maybe it would be put the onus on Grief to educate the residents rather than me telling them something that they want to hear.
Can you repeat that, please?
Sure, I would put the onus on Grief to educate the residents.
Okay,
maybe they can call a number and say, yeah, this is what we're doing today. I mean, I'll gladly do what I can.
What?
We are residents of Fitchburg, so I believe it's our government that should be looking after the people, not a third party.
Agreed. 99% of the complaints come at 7, 8, 10 o'clock at night. I don't see them again until morning. And by then, it's really, most of the times, it's not an issue. That's why I asked them for a third party, so a third party can come out as soon as they get the complaint, take a look at it.
It's just hard.
I don't mean to sound like I'm not going to be the communicator. I will do the best I can if that's what helps.
I think it's the responsibility of the city to take care of their residents, not a third party that's being hired by a corporation. Am I alone?
My concern is, and I will do that. That's not a problem. But you need to tell me what you would like to know, because I'm limited on the information I can give you. I am not a wastewater treatment.
I also can't imagine that if a complaint comes in at 10 o'clock at night, that even a point person or a third-party person is going to be going out at 10 o'clock at night to investigate this. I mean, I can't even imagine that would happen in this city, or maybe even anywhere.
It happens at the landfill.
It does?
Yes.
Okay.
I will do the best I can to get there at 10 o'clock at night, but
Yeah.
I mean, my suggestion wasn't to have one person doing all the work, was to have one person receiving information. So for instance, if his third-party person went out, who could receive that information and then, then disseminate it. Not someone who would go out and chase down this work or do the work themselves. I wasn't trying to volunteer
No,
someone
I
to do the work.
understand. I understand. And again, I don't mind being the point person and the communicator, but I'm limited on what I can tell you.
Right. I don't want it to be you.
I don't know.
Work all day. You
I'm
can't
not
work
even
all day and
sure
all night.
what difference it's all going to make. I think we know what the complaints are. I mean,
Yeah,
here
no,
they
I think that what they wanted, though, was information from wastewater, information from them, and information from a few different places. So my idea was if that information is in one place, that makes it easier for all of us to have that information, and it makes it easier for us to get to the bottom of where this is coming from. Because without that information, all we have is, on Tuesday it smelled. And on Thursday night it smelled, and I don't know what to do with that. There's not much I can do with that.
So I would be willing to meet with Joe at Grief and Ken and give them a weekly report if that's helpful. But I have no problem with that.
And I think that maybe the residents would like to be part of that meet and greet or meet and report, right? Am I right? That if there's weekly,
I thought this was, to me, that's this meeting, is that we hear from wastewater treatment, we hear from the Board of Health, we hear from Grief. But if we don't have a single person at wastewater who has all the information right here, right now, and I'm sorry, no offense, and you're downstream from the issue, we're just kind of going in circles. Now we've got to wait for another month or 2 months for the next meeting to hear that something is happening. I was under the impression from our last meeting that the tanks weren't pumped out for months. And now do I hear that we're pumping out daily?
Yeah.
So how do we really know?
That's something, well, I'm just throwing this out there.
When we do clean or when we flush out the tanks, we're about an update on the website, or I'd be glad I'm sure there's more people involved, more residents, but I could contact you guys or send out a group text or something.
Update on the website would be great.
Yeah, I mean, we could do that. That's just throwing that out there. If that would help.
I don't know if it's a Facebook page or if it's something, but it has to come from the city. Do you understand that? It has to come from you taking responsibility for your residents. It can't come from us. I mean, I find it terrible that Mr. Goodwin had to research the air quality monitors. That should come from you.
And I just want to add, too, I think we're on the right track, because with the timeline, what Joe had spoken about with the change in the processing, I think that was the first time I got a complaint. I had just taken over as sewer system manager in January of 21, and that's when the first complaint that I remember came in. I think it was from you. So I think, and it was on C-Click-Fix, and I think that coincides. I don't know exactly when you guys changed over.
It was the end of 21.
End of 20, yeah, okay, all right, well, maybe that's not, maybe my
I
time.
mean, the first one that happened, it's possible, like, oh, something stinks today.
Maybe it was 22.
And then a month or two later, it's,
Yeah.
it stinks again. So
Okay.
it wasn't as noticeable when we first changed over.
Yeah, it just seems like we're on the right track, I think, with that processing change, though.
I just want to understand something. Is Griff using these tanks, or is Griff having to pay the city of Fitchburg to use these tanks? Is this like an agreement that Griff has had with wastewater to use these tanks? Or is Griff having to pay the city, giving the city of Fitchburg money?
We pay to have our treatment, our effluent treated. The West Plan belongs to the city.
Okay.
They just happen to receive it in those tanks.
And the city is letting you use them?
We're not using it, it's the city's.
Okay.
The city receives our effluent. They used to treat it right there, but now they don't. They move it over to the East Line.
Okay.
So you pay the same water sewage fees that we pay, basically?
We pay sewage fees, yes. I don't know, it's different than industrial. Yeah, it's a different pay scale.
But he's getting the same, he's getting a bill, like we're getting a bill.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
It's a couple $100,000 a quarter.
So as of October, the character of the effluent that's going to go to the tanks in West Fitchburg is going to change. Is that the idea?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's possible that it was okay in those tanks because it was of a lower constituent, didn't have the potential to generate odor as easily as it does now if it doesn't move out of there. That's a theory.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if there are any motions that we make about this, or I think we have a plan, I think, and that is to see what happens in October, essentially, and also to communicate a little bit better about what the complaints are, how things are going, and what the plans are to fix it, or what's being done along the way up until October and even after. Does that seem acceptable to everyone?
And we can, I would assume we could continue to do updates here.
Yeah.
Like next month in
Right.
September. We have a meeting. I don't know if you have to be here every time, but if you know.
Meeting next month?
That's what we'll be saying.
There's usually a meeting every month, the first Thursday of the month. And then if there seems sometimes like there's no agenda or there's nothing really going on, then sometimes that month might be omitted. But the plan, I guess, would be to have a meeting in August, maybe the first Thursday in August, or maybe, depending on everybody's schedule, it might be a different Thursday in August, the next meeting.
What is the first Thursday?
Looking for the next Thursday, I mean, the next month?
That would be August 1st.
August 1st? Gotta just check it.
I would not be available if you're looking for me.
I think we're absolutely looking for you.
I think we'd love to have you.
I would be back in this country after the 2nd of August.
Maybe the 8th, August 8th?
Does that work?
August 1st?
8.
Oh, 8th.
Joe is not available. on
August 8th is better for me, yeah.
August 8th?
Yeah.
All right, so that's the plan, August 8th.
Will you do anything about that backup hearing?
Yeah, we should vote on a deadline and not let this continue to go on.
So I guess I'll make, if this motion makes sense, I'll make a motion that the deadline for the Royal Fuel Smoke Shop hearing will be Thursday, August 8th. If we do not have them in attendance at that time, we will be voting on the outcome of the hearing at that time.
I'll second that.
So essentially, you will be voting on returning the violations back to the owner.
Correct.
Okay, just so I understand. And folks, I have no problem communicating to you. I will communicate to you the best I can, but I will communicate to you the best I can with the information I have.
Thank you. We would appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
I'm not sure this is working real well.
Oh, no? Mine seems to be working.
I think there's one item left on the agenda, which is the minutes. I didn't have a chance to look at them, unfortunately, for the April minutes.
Yeah, I did look at them. I didn't see any need for any changes. Karen did beautifully as always.
Were you able to look at the minutes of the April?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm going to make a motion to table the April minutes.
All right?
Perfect.
What? I'm sorry.
Table them since we didn't read them. I don't want to vote on something I didn't read.
You want me?
Oop, oop.
Got it?
It's, you got to kind of keep a finger on it. Well, that's right.
You want to try mine?
I could do reasonably well.
We're in for a special report.
Yeah, that one's fine.
You're welcome to it. So the minutes at table, that's,
Should I bring that with? No, I'll leave it here. I'm done now. I mean, I'm okay.
I think we're good, right?
Have any updates or anything?
I don't have any updates prepared, no.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second it?
I'm in favor of that. Well, thank you, guys. It's a difficult question,
Thank you.
and
I think you might be waiting for your gavel, John.
in light of some of the questions that have come up in the last week, I would like to,
Let's gavel it so you can shut this recording down.
yeah,